The way I learned how to play jazz was more by listening than anything else. I so my parents were both piano players, and I would listen to my dad. He was a blues player and country player and producer, and would listen to him play and then pick up some things from him. And I'd listen to my mom play classical, and I'd pick up some things from her. But never really took formal lessons, except for maybe like a couple of years during my youth until college, really. But I had so much fun with it, listening to it and then listening to recordings. Actually, that the main, I would say the main way I started learning jazz was when I was in high school. I think it was like a freshman in high school, maybe sophomore. It was whenever when I started driving. I drove my mom's car to school, and I remember every morning I would listen to the jazz station, and I didn't understand it at all. Um, I had no idea what was going on. I remember they would play Coltrane, and it would all sound like the same note to me. Yeah, I couldn't distinguish the ideas he was playing. Um, and the way that I learned was I listened to it over and over and over again. I thought to myself, if if people are saying what they're saying about this genre, there must be something there. So I listened and just immersed myself in the music. Every morning for the whole drive, I would listen to it. Every day after school, I would listen to it, and then I'd listen to it at home and in the hallways, until eventually it all started to make sense to me. And I think that was when it was at some point in that experience, listening over and over and over again, when it clicked, and I began to understand the jazz ideas. And then I adopted my technical facility really in college. I could barely play a scale when I first got to college. But I remember my teacher said, like, you're gonna have to really start practicing. So I guess I was 18 years old, and I would go and first spend 2 hours a day, and then 3, and then 4, and then eventually I was spending 10 hours a day in the practice room, in a meditative state, going through all of the exercises I needed to get through to be able to start to play the sorts of things that I heard from adapting jazz through listening. Yeah, that's the process. So listening was first, and then technical knowledge was second. But the entire time it was all with under a personal drive. It wasn't the drive of a teacher, and that's something that I think is very important. Everybody should. I don't encourage people to push their kids into jazz, because I think when the motivation comes from a teacher, then you get demotivated, and at some point you'll stop. But if it comes from within and you actually are interested in it, then you can really push yourself hard and go through the challenging steps it takes to adopt a full, deep understanding of the music.